For those of you that have joined us, welcome. David Fink, president of the Plastic Pipe Institute, and very excited here today to have some of our friends from the North American Association of Manufacturing and in specific the HEROES program. So I have a little bit of administration to go through. One of those is our antitrust statement, as we do have competitors on the phone, even though I doubt we'll fall into any issues. So this meeting is being conducted under PPI's antitrust policy, meeting participants must observe the policy, avoid discussions of price, production, customers, or other competitively sensitive information, follow the meeting agenda, and speak up to prevent discussions that may violate PPI's policies and procedures. Staff or council must be present at PPI meetings. I checked that box for us here today. And PPI supports free and fair competition for the industry's products. So just a quick check, for those that aren't familiar with GoToWebinar, I have everyone muted at this point in time other than our presenters, which you can hopefully see at the top of your screen. So if you do have any issues, if you would please, there is a questions box off to the right. I did receive one that someone was having difficulty hearing us. There is an audio drop down where you can check which microphone you have and what speakers you have. So you may need to select what your laptop is currently connected with. But other than that, there is also a raise hand function. I would ask that everybody save their questions for the end. So we have about a 45-minute presentation here today, and then we are going to take everybody off of mute and open it up. So in the meantime, feel free to go ahead and put questions in the question box. Tracy, thank you for letting me know that you can now hear us. So that's excellent. So with that, we're up to 12 attendees. We're expecting about 20 today. I figure a few people are kind of joining late. But I would like to introduce Babs Chase, Rachelle Wolford, and Jennifer White with the HEROES Make America program. Ladies, take it away.
Great, David, thank you so much. And before we jump in, I want to thank you and Plastics Pipe Institute for your support of the HEROES Make America program. It is so important because at the end of the day, and we'll talk about this in a minute, we are committed to ensuring that we bring more and more of our American heroes into the manufacturing industry. And that won't happen without the support of organizations like yourself and the companies and members that are a part of your organization. So thank you for that. So I am going to just quickly, as I mentioned, I'm Vice President of Military and Veterans Programs. I'll let Rachel and Jen introduce themselves quickly, and then I will jump into the deck, and we will try and get it done in shorter than 45 minutes because we really do enjoy the dialogue. So Rachel, do you want to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rachelle Wolford, and I am the Senior Program Manager with the HEROES Make America program. I'm based here at Fort Riley, Kansas, so I handle our day-to-day operations here. And then as a Senior Program support all of our other installations, ensuring cohesion and collaboration across all of our sites. So thank you so much for allowing me to join you today.
Great. Jen.
Turn it over to you.
Thank you. I'm Jen White. I'm the program manager for HEROES Make America at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So I'm actually located in Clarksville, Tennessee, and an active duty military spouse myself. So thank you all for joining us today and hope that you find some great value in our program.
Great, Jen, thank you. And I do want to reiterate one thing that Jen mentioned as an active duty military spouse. We greatly appreciate not just her being a part of the team, but also the wisdom she shares living that day to day in her family. And I say one of the things I think is also important about the HEROES Make America team, all of us are part of the military community. My husband's retired Navy, Rachel's husband's retired Air Force, and we've got veterans on the team as well as other military spouses. So this is not just a job for us, this is a passion, and hopefully in today's presentation that will come through. So let's jump in on the presentation. So Jen, if you don't mind, next slide, please. So I always like to start off just positioning what the Manufacturing Institute is. For those of you that may not be familiar, we are the workforce development and education partner of the National Association of Manufacturers. We are the not-for-profit 501c3 side, and we are 100% focused on taking care of the workforce of today and building the workforce of tomorrow. Our key focus areas you'll see outlined here below: veterans, women, youth, and skills training. Really all aspects of those that we are hoping to bring into the workforce and those that may currently be serving. When you look at our association with the National Association of Manufacturers, we are so fortunate to be a part of this organization because, as you all probably know, we're representing about 14,000 different manufacturers just like y'all, all across the country, a variety of industry segments and a variety of different sizes of companies. It's not all big companies. We've got the small mom and pop as well as some of the larger ones and the ones right there in between. Because when we're looking at that transitioning population for the military, where they want to go, they don't all want to go to the same place. They're just as diverse as the opportunities you're going to present in the industry. So next slide. So our mission from Heroes Make America is to build connections between the military community and the manufacturing industry. And that's done in a few different ways that we're going to highlight shortly. And as I mentioned earlier, we really are committed to ensuring these heroes that have served and worn the cloth of our country are brought into the manufacturing industry. That's our goal, that's our purpose, and that's what we're going to get your help in making sure we can do. Next slide. All right, 3 key ways that I like to sum this up. We will prepare, we will help train, and then we make those connections. If you may or may not be aware, there's about 200,000 service members that transition into the civilian sector each year. And you know, a lot of folks, if you're on this call today, you know what they bring to the table. You may have veterans already serving in your organizations. You know, and these are some of the basics. It's sad that we take this for granted in some places, but you really do. They're on time, they're on team, and there's a mission. They are mission focused. They're obviously resilient, adaptable, disciplined. These are just some of the terms that we use to describe the folks going through our program, but there's so many more that make the military veteran population so perfect for the careers in your industry. What we look at from our program, we really strive, particularly in our in-person training, which I'll talk about in a minute, is focused on making sure that our participants have the skills and certifications, but also some of the soft skills as well. They need to ensure a successful career in manufacturing once they graduate from our program. Next slide. All right, this is going to give you kind of a top line look at what Heroes Make America is as an initiative. When I talked about, we have really 3 key areas that we focus on. Number 1 is our training program. We launched in January of 2018 at Fort Riley in Kansas as what's known as the Department of Defense Skill Bridge program. That means that we are training transitioning service members in the last 180 days in uniform. So that allows them to still be paid by the Department of Defense, and we become their temporary place of duty in the time that they spend with us. I'm going to let Rachel go into more details in a few minutes on that, but just giving you kind of that high level view of what that training is. Right now, we currently offer in-person training at 5 different locations across the country, which we'll go into in a minute. Our focus is on the certified production technician training at 4 of those 5 sites, and that the 5th is a mechatronics training, which Jen will share about in a little bit. We are in the process of hopefully piloting. We are getting all our ducks in a row for that in January, we're starting to look at how we could build out more remote training options, because we recognize with all those numbers I talked about, 200,000 transitioning out, they're not all going to be able to have a seat in our training classes. So we're trying to figure out how do we serve those that maybe in a more remote location, they may be, you know, transitioning out from overseas. What can we do to serve that broader group? So that's one of our focus areas for 2021. In addition, under Jen's leadership, we have been piloting a certified logistics technician training as well this year. So looking forward to those results, but that's a self-paced model. So a little bit different. They're not directly tied to that in-person cohort, but it's allowing them to at least get some of the certifications we know are important to the industry. Second bucket is Heroes Connect, military to manufacturing. All of us, I have no doubt, I'm sure if I could see all your faces right now, you'd probably all be nodding. We've all found silver linings in COVID. You know, as challenging as this year has been, there's a lot of positives that have come out of it. And one of them for us is Heroes Connect. One of the hallmarks of our program, we have, in addition to the incredible personal support that our program managers give to our participants, we have absolutely loved the fact that our manufacturers that are nearby our installations are opening their doors to our participants every Friday. We do about 2 tours each Friday during our training, and they've been allowing them to come in and get that firsthand look about what it's like to actually have a job in that facility, in the industry. Obviously, with COVID, as we all know, we're certainly not inviting people into our homes, much less our workplace. You know, it's certainly not been the safest way to do that. So this team right here launched Heroes Connect to virtually connect our participants with manufacturers that are hiring today. Most important, we commit to the people going through our program. We're going to help them find that next job, and we can't do that without the manufacturers. So this has been an incredible platform to us to actually make those direct connections. You can see in the snapshots here that we have everybody up on Zoom because we think it's important to have that dialogue. Jen's going to dig in a little more on that later, but at least wanted to give you kind of the initial intro to this. So we're very excited about the way forward. This is something that's not just sustainable for us, but scalable, because it's opening doors for us to present companies all across the country. Once again, not just outside the gates of where we're operating our training. Last but not least is our manufacturer support. You know, I'm hoping that a lot of you that are chiming in today, you may or may not be used to hiring from the military community. You may be looking for ways to do more with this. So what we have done is, you know, we're trying to build up more ways to share best practices, get direct feedback from manufacturers, but also provide some free online training. We've got partnerships with the SHRM Foundation and the Psych Armor Institute, both offering free online trainings that are not, you know, too time consuming, particularly if you go through Psych Armor, through the Society for Human Resource Management, through their certificate program for HR leaders. That's a great way to get certifications and actually in your field. But for those that just want to know kind of the top line, how do we engage? What do we need to know about this population? Psych Armor classes, the majority through the link on our website, literally most of them are less than 15 minutes. So it gives you that initial overview. We are in the process of doing some best practice assessments so that we can share more with the population on what are some other companies doing, where are they seeing success, and how can you emulate what they're doing. Last but not least, we recently launched an advisory committee made up of some manufacturers that are veteran leaders in the population that are helping us really understand what's important to our manufacturers and how can we help shape the way forward with the program. So that's next slide. So I know I've just put a lot on you, and I think about 10 minutes. So I am going to turn it over to Rachel to dig in a little bit more specifically on our training program and talk about some of those highlights. Rachel?
Thanks, Fab, so much. So we'll spend a little brief amount of time on this slide. Really, this is to show you exactly where we're operating our program. So as Fab said before, we operate on 5 installations. So we launched here at Fort Riley, Kansas. Then we went to Fort Hood, Texas, which is also doing the certified production technician. Our next stop was Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And then we went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, where we have our Mechatronics program, and Fort Benning, Georgia. The Fort Benning, Georgia location is on hold at this time. They've had some unique circumstances down there with the COVID pandemic, so we want to be mindful of everybody's safety down there. So we're not currently operating that site at this time. And then, of course, our O2O program and partnership is based out of the Fort Campbell, Kentucky location. And then, as Fab said, just reiterating that we are excited to hopefully be launching, definitely piloting our remote virtual CPT training in Fort Riley, Kansas in 2021. So Jen, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. I did want to say that we are also open to not only transitioning service members, but members of the National Guard, reservists, veterans, and military spouses. So really open to the entire military and veteran community, acknowledging that all of them need our support and are great assets to the manufacturing industry. So Bab's already covered it, but we are a Department of Defense Skill Bridge program. So just to dive in a little deeper on that, we are allowed to assist transitioning service members specifically during their last 6 months of service. The goal is to get them into a training that aligns with their transition timeline, so that once they complete the training, the goal is to put them right into a career in manufacturing. We do the 3 different pathways. I won't dive in deep on those because we do have slides dedicated to those where we'll cover in a little bit more detail what they mean. But I do believe we'll ask David to share this slide deck out with you after the event, and those are hyperlinks, so you can also click on those links to dive in a little more detail on what those certifications look like. A big part of our program is the career readiness instruction. So part of that is we have a career week that we administer to our students. And this is made up of a combination of resume writing, LinkedIn training, salary negotiations, personal branding. These are all very foreign aspects of the transition for our participants, because you don't have that in the military. You're not applying for a job when you want to promote. So helping assist them in that preparation, really gearing them up for what it's going to be like when they start having those interviews, and how to talk to the civilian industry about all the amazing new things they do as part of their military service. We work closely with Hire Heroes USA to assist us with resume support, placement is a key part of our program. So as part of our program, we send out our resume distribution sheet, and that goes out to partners like PPI, who can then share out with their members. But it's a high-level overview of our participants in an Excel document. So you can see what their transition timeline looks like, kind of what their background experience is, and then you can click on their name and it will take you to their resume directly. I often say it is a military recruiting strategy on a silver platter. And what we see from the companies we work with is those who are willing to take the time to really dive in deep on that resume spreadsheet, to reach out and make the connection with those transitioning service members and other participants are the most successful. And the reason for that is, you know, depending on the size of the manufacturer, sometimes it's hard to find those career opportunities or know what is out there and what's available. So that little bit of extra hand holding, of networking, of relationship building is just really key. And they really take advantage of that. Prior to COVID, we used to take our students on what we would call modern manufacturing tours every Friday to really get them out and expose them to what manufacturing looks like. This kind of is multifaceted. It's an opportunity to engage with HR teams, with veterans that work within the organization, to see what roles look like. And, you know, to determine maybe what industry they're really interested in. Because our goal as we place them is we want there to be retention. So we want to get them into their next career, not just their next job. But of course, in light of COVID, we did build out our Heroes Connect initiative in order to make sure that we're still creating those connections. And then a big part of the program is we're no cost to our participants. So we use state workforce grants, scholarships, GI Bill funding to ensure that they're getting training and college credit hours to make them a desirable candidate to the manufacturing industry. So you can go to the next slide, Jen. So I'll kind of give you a high-level overview of the certified production technician here. I won't sit here and make you read everything that's on this slide. Once again, you'll get this deck and you can look at it in a little bit more detail. But really, the certified production technician is what we call a foundational certification. It's really giving our participants an understanding of what the manufacturing shop floor looks like. And then when we couple that with their military experience, their background, it really helps drive placement, because we get everything from the folks who have done, you know, 3 or 4 years of military service to the ones that are coming out with 20 plus. So we can fill just about every role you can think of within your organization. So they train in 4 primary areas: safety, quality practices and measurement, manufacturing process and production, and then they get a maintenance awareness. So it really makes them a very diversified individual, like I said, so that they can come in and, you know, really take control of that new position and make an impact on your organization. So Jen, if you want to go to the next slide, I will turn it over to you because I believe this is yours.
Yeah, thank you. So here at Fort Campbell, we have a Mechatronics program. We partner with our local community college, where the students actually, over the course of 15 weeks, earn a Mechatronics technical certificate. So they're earning 16 college credits. They're taking courses in electrical components, mechanical components and electric drives, hydraulics and pneumatics, as well as digital fundamentals and PLCs. And so at the end, they go through the course. It is kind of hybrid, where they're doing coursework as well as a lot of lab instruction also to get some hands-on. At the end of the course, they also sit for the Siemens Mechatronics System Level 1 certification exam. So through this program, they can earn a Mechatronics technical certificate as well as that industry recognized credential too. Like Rachel said, we get very diverse candidates from, you know, those who have served in combat arms, through aircraft mechanics, vehicle mechanics, people in logistics, a little bit of everything. So that's a little bit about Mechatronics. And then we also, through our Fort Campbell site, are running the Certified Logistics Technician pilot in partnership with Onward to Opportunity that Babs had mentioned earlier. It's a bit of a foundational certification as well. Through this, they actually do 2 programs. It starts with the Certified Logistics Associate, which is foundational, kind of entry level. where it's just kind of giving them an overview of what logistics and supply chain is in the manufacturing industry. And then once they complete that, they move into the CLT, or Certified Logistics Technician, which really brings them in at like a first line supervisory level within there. So again, a lot of the folks that we see coming through there already have a strong background in logistics through the military. They often find that this is new because it's giving them an introduction to a different industry than what they've used, but they're also finding that a lot of things really do correlate. So they're seeing where those translations are in addition to what they already know. So we started out very slow. This launched right as COVID hit us. So we started with a very small group. We're starting to see that grow, and we're starting to really see them be more successful over time as we all, make adjustments and see what works well and what we've needed to improve. So it's really been a great program so far. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy. So then moving, like we've spoken about already, when COVID hit, we still needed to find ways to make those connections out with manufacturers. And so we created, really on the fly, the Heroes Connect military to manufacturing piece to still allow our participants to network with leaders in the industry. We do use the Zoom platform for this so that everybody is on camera, everybody is interacting as much as we can face to face, but it really is about that dialogue. We offer companies and different organizations the opportunity to come on and really highlight who you are, what you do, what your culture is like. But we really want to also replace those in-person tours as much as we can. We want to show them what does the shop floor look like, or those areas that they may be working in. What types of jobs might they be seeing if they came out to your facilities? So anywhere we can incorporate photographs or video is even better. We like to do that. But then we ask them, to come on camera and ask their questions in person. And not only does this allow them to interact directly, it allows them to practice interviewing skills as well, and start to build those relationships. So these allow us to connect manufacturers, not just where our sites are, which is what we used to be limited to. Now we can connect participants in any corner of the world. So those who are transitioning out of Germany or Korea or Hawaii or the middle of the desert, California, can all still have these great opportunities to connect with leading industry or leaders in the industry. But two, regardless of where you are, you could also now connect with the talent coming from the military. So these are open to participants everywhere. It's not limited just to our Heroes Make America students. We open it up to the broader military and veteran community. So no travel required, saves money on that side, but still able to build those strong connections and find the talent that you need within your company. So we have a few different formats for this. The majority of the time we do manufacturer highlights, where it's just one company talking about who they are, where they are, and what opportunities they have. But we also do community spotlights. So we find some of those areas that are great for service members and their families to move, to transition to after they separate from the military. It's not just the service member. It's not the military telling them where to go. This is now a family affair. So on Community Spotlight, we focus on educational opportunities within that area, other economic opportunities for the entire family, as well as veteran resources that might be available, recreational opportunities, things of that nature. But then we also bring on a couple employers from that area, manufacturers, to talk about their opportunities that are there locally as well, and why veterans and their families should want to move there. And then we do industry showcases. And on that note, we actually have one coming up in February where we're going to spotlight PPI and hopefully get a couple of your companies to come on with us as well, where David will get to highlight the plastics pipe industry, and then try to move some veterans into that space. So.
Yeah, and if I could interrupt, I got a quick poll question that I'm going to launch, and that is just to wake everybody up as halfway through this. We find these polls are very engaging in that aspect, but essentially just, would your company be interested in hosting or participating in a Heroes Connect event? As has been outlined, PPI will be hosting an event coming up in February. There'll be more details going out to our advisory council representatives on that. But feel free to reach out to me as well, and I'll have my contact information available at the conclusion of the webinar here today. So getting a very good response. Over 50% of the folks have now voted. We'll give it another few seconds here. So we're getting a resounding yes that there is interest here in participating or hosting a Heroes Connect event, which is awesome. So I will go ahead and close that out and share the results. So again, a resounding yes across the board from our participants here today, which is great to see. So thank you all.
Wonderful. We're excited to hear that as well. So as you can see, this has been very successful. We pivoted very quickly to get this platform launched. We have to date highlighted about 40 different manufacturers, actually a little more than 40. We've done 3 community spotlights, and our average participants are about 66, but we see that growing in the future as well. And we are proud to say we have had participants from every branch of service, and again, from just about every corner of the United States and even some overseas who have joined these events. So we're excited to see where this goes in 2021. When COVID leaves, and it finally will, Heroes Connect will still be there. Babs, I'm going to turn it back over to you at this point.
Great. Jen, thank you so much. So what we always think is important to share a little bit of the data. What are our results? How do we know this program's working, and why does this matter to you? So I know one of the questions David got a lot was, what if I'm not right outside one of these sites? Is this relevant to me? Well, when you look at the 456 people that have graduated from our program, we have placed in 38 states, 1 US territory, and honestly, 3 overseas as well. So there is definitely an interest when people are transitioning out, as Jen mentioned and Rachel's talked about. They are not just interested in staying for they transition. Some want to go back home. Some want to chase the right opportunity. And so I think it really comes down to the companies, as Jen mentioned. You got to sell your company, your culture, and the community in which you operate. But we certainly see opportunities and interest in going all across the country. So I encourage you, it really does come down to how much you put in and how you recruit them to where you are. We have also placed with well over 200 companies. We are in the position of transferring our data to Salesforce, so it's been counting one by one by one. So we're excited when it'll be a lot easier to get that exact number. But once we get past 200, we say we are doing well. Then these obviously are all different companies, all different shapes and sizes and segments, and all across the country, as we're showcasing here. I think a lot of people are interested. What are these people like? And I think it is a very diverse group, as I talked about. You can obviously read here, average salary has stayed fairly consistent, ranging right between 65 to 70,000, and that's for salary. For those that choose hourly roles, we're seeing pretty consistent right there around $19 or $20 an hour. These are the starting wages. We don't necessarily track in here as people go up and down, but obviously with the talent coming from this community, we anticipate they're continuing to promote. This is where they're starting. We know they're going to continue to move forward. All right, let's go to the next slide. When you're looking at the participants that go through the program, just kind of understanding who they are, what is that like? And I think, kind of the key items of note. One thing I do like to reference, people are talking so much about D&I right now, and that's important to every company. And one of the things that we're incredibly proud of is we're seeing about 47% of our participants are coming from minority populations. And that's something, what we're also seeing is results are across the board. We're seeing, very similar placement and things like that with all the different groups going through our program. They are representing, we talk about diversity in our program, that is also the skill sets coming in. Those of you that are familiar with the military community, when we talk about their military occupational code, basically what do they do in service? 116 different specialties are coming through our program. So that tells you, once again, a lot of different talent and a lot of different aspects of their training, but then what that brings to your organizations. We are always pushing, as you can see represented here, we are very much excited when we add females to our program. But right now, we are pretty much in line with what we're seeing that are serving in DoD. So we consider that a win, but obviously we'd rather be closer to the numbers we're seeing in manufacturing. So continuing to encourage more transitioning service members, veterans, Guard, Reserve, and military spouses to come into the program. We are seeing, about a quarter are being placed in supervisory roles. The rest are really, they're serving in all different aspects of the industry. What's also been interesting, when the program was launched, we were focused really on that more junior service member, maybe had done a handful of years in service, didn't have a lot of work experience. But what we've seen, we've got close to half have served more than 10 years in the military. So obviously you're getting a lot more experience that are saying, we want the connections, we want that certification. That is then basically giving credibility to some of that training that they received in service, and now how that aligns is something that you as hiring experts will understand. And then I would say when you look at our numbers, about 30% of post-secondary. These are obviously, you're going to get these slides, so all this will be shown to you in that as well. So if we want to go to the next slide. Thanks, Jen. So this gives you an overview. This is our team right now. We are still adding to the team. So look forward to the next time we talk, having more pictures on the slide, because when you're doing well, success means growth. So we're excited about where the program is taking us going forward. This gives you an idea of the dates of when our next classes will be starting. We're launching January 4th, 11th, and 19th. And then the certified logistics next class won't launch till February. But this gives you an idea as well when you would be anticipating getting those resumes. Usually that comes out about the second or third week of class, just when we're sure those resumes are ready for you to review. So that tells you, looking at these start dates, when you should anticipate receiving those. But we do have, and I'm sure can go ahead and share our latest resume list that we'll be able to send out as well. So if there's any talent that's available that recently graduated, most of our classes graduated the first or second week of December. So anyone that's not placed, I would be excited to hear from you. All right, next slide. I've already touched on this, how we're preparing our manufacturers. So I encourage you, if you want to learn more about how to engage the community, please go to the Heroes Make America site, and you'll have a chance to sign up for these free training programs. All right, next slide. All right, how do you get involved? What does this mean? How can you plug in? Obviously, David is a passionate supporter of what we're doing with Heroes Make America. He will continue to tell you, whether it's in your newsletter, it's in emails, whatever that correspondence is. I know David is a champion of ours, and we are a champion for David. So we appreciate what you're doing with PPI and want to make sure that your members are taking advantage of your investment here with Heroes Make America. So obviously companies, I'll touch on this, David knows this, if any companies are looking to get their name front and center, that may be a separate sponsorship. We're happy to entertain those conversations, but that's not why we're here today. Hire our graduates. That's what we want to see happen. We want to make sure they're getting great careers when they walk out of our training. So please do that. Resume list will be coming your way. You can register for updates directly. These are live links in the deck as well. So we do send out a newsletter periodically, as well as invitations, whether we're back in, whether it's virtual events or in person. Once we're able to do those, we encourage you to sign up and get those. I have no doubt PPI will share them with you as well when they come their way, just to make sure you see that doesn't get lost in your email box. Heroes Connect, we've already talked about. We've talked about PPI hosting one later this year. Even if you are not presenting, you can still sign up and chime in and just listen to see what this presentation is about, to see if you're going to be interested in doing one going forward. We will be doing larger national Heroes Connect events, but there may be opportunities if we're doing something more local. Let's just say, I'll give an example with our Fort Riley class. So if there's a chance and you just want to engage locally, you've got a smaller company that makes more sense for you, that's certainly something that we can consider, because we want to expose our participants to all different opportunities. Follow our LinkedIn showcase page. Once again, live link here, but we encourage you to click on there. We are looking at more ways to engage manufacturers with that population. As our numbers grow on LinkedIn, we recognize there may, one of the things we're trying to build out is opportunities to highlight jobs that people have directly. And so there may be a chance for you to plug in there. So just follow us, see what activities are happening. Our program managers often will host and kind of give a highlight of some of our participants as well. So you may see some talent spotlighted on the Heroes LinkedIn showcase page, and they may be a perfect fit for you as well. And we're doing obviously this information session specifically for PPI, but if there are other members of your companies that did not get a chance to join today, and I have no doubt we'll probably do another one later this year, or next year, excuse me, probably not this year in 2020, but we do host monthly information sessions. They're obviously not focused just on PPI, they're more general, but if you've got folks that want to join for those, we certainly encourage that as well. So how did we do? 40 minutes exactly. So David, I will turn it over to you, and then I know we would love to hear from y'all and answer your questions.
Travis, thank you so much. And as you stated, I'm very excited about this program. I continue to hear from our membership that they're struggling with their workforce. We're a growing industry, which is great. We have manufacturing sites not only in the locations that these graduates are coming out of, but throughout North America. And I really appreciated you showcasing where people are being placed. Obviously, a lot of manufacturing for PPI here in the state of Texas, which is great to see because that was a lot of the graduates. And as more and more Californians find their way into Texas, I can bet that we're going to continue to grow in our segment as well.